Morning everyone, how are we doing? I got a couple of requests to cover on, god from Celtic mythology, god of the underworld, death and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, we're going to be doing that. Jumping right into it, besides from being god of the underworld and death, he's also a god of revenge. He rides a few red-eared hounds through the skies in autumn, winter and the early part of spring. Whilst he's riding, his hounds sound like wild geese, at least, when they're, making their animal noises, right? Before, usually he would do this to sort of round up souls and bring them to the underworld. Not necessarily in an aggressive or negative way, but this was eventually changed over time to him chasing specifically damned souls to Arawn, which is essentially the underworld, right? Hell. And of course, he is the god of the underworld. So in this underworld, there's eternal youth, there's no diseases, and food is pretty plentiful, like it doesn't run out. He also has a magic cauldron with healing power, and it won't boil a coward's food. King Arthur finds out about this cauldron and decides to lead a journey to the underworld to retrieve it. It's also said that whilst the cauldron can restore life, it will also make the restored person mute. And whilst we're on the subject of things coming back to life, Arawn typically isn't a fan of things coming back to life. He'll usually make things complicated for whoever's being revived. Be that by chasing the damned souls on the back of his dogs, or sending avatars of himself to do his work for him. That doesn't necessarily apply to everyone that's being revived, but people that he cares to keep in the underworld, he'll do what he has to do. He also lives on an island so far out at sea that no one can find it whilst living, not even the god of the sea himself. And usually comes to the world of the living after someone's dead as well. So usually he'll spend a lot of his time in the underworld anyway, so that's usually fine. And he's also referenced as being a magician and a guardian of magical animals, including a unicorn in some cases as well. Moving on to some of his myths here, Pil has his dogs hunt a stag, only to find that Arawn was hunting the same creature. And by hunting, I do mean hunting with like bow and arrow, typical huntsman sort of thing. This is Arawn doing this. So Arawn eventually works out with this Pil guy that they'd swap places for a year and a day, with Pil having to defeat Hafgan, an enemy who Arawn just couldn't beat, whilst Arawn becoming the Lord of Dyfed. And they actually become really best buddies because neither man sleeps with the other man's wife during the year switch. There's also the Battle of the Trees. Amathon steals a dog, Lapwig, and a roebuck from Arawn. And of course Arawn isn't particularly pleased about this, and he's the god of the underworld, so yes, he decides to do something about it. So the thief is actually helped out by Gwydion. In some cases, Gwydion is his student. He has all sorts of magical abilities, and he turns a forest into an army, a fighting force. And they have a bit of a battle or a war, a conflict, right? And Gwydion ultimately learns the name of one of Arawn's men, Bran, and that wins him the war, the conflict. So, rips to Arawn, I guess. There's not really much more to say about him, because, yeah, I couldn't really find much else. But of course, let me know what you think about Arawn, and if you know anything more about him, go ahead and post that down below. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. But, as always, have yourselves a fantastical day, and check out some of the other videos if you don't have to. And check out some of the other videos, I've got some more content like this, not only already made, but coming as well. With that, have yourselves a fantastical day. Bye-bye.